Welcome to Love at First Bite, our exclusive podcast sharing exclusives and behind the scenes of our show, Cake Connections. Did love bloom in the oven or did it crumble like a poorly made soufflé? Let's find out in this week's episode with our bachelor Ethan and last week's winner Rose. Both of you have been on your date to the cinema, but it seems like things didn't quite spark the way you'd hoped. Is it safe to say it's the first of many?
No, I don't think any more dates will be happening.
That was quick. What happened during the cinema date that made you feel that way?
Honestly, it just felt weird. We both matched because he chose my cake in the baking challenge, which was super flattering. But at the movie, it was like we were two total strangers with nothing in common.
Yeah, I thought we'd have more to talk about, especially after such a sweet connection over the cake. Once we sat down in the theatre, it was just silence.
So, less popcorn and more awkwardness, huh? What movie did you see?
We went to go see the new romantic comedy. I thought it would be perfect since we could laugh and maybe spark some conversation afterwards. But I think we were both too busy trying to figure out what to say.
I mean, I picked a cake because it was amazing, and I thought we'd vibe over shared taste, but sitting there I realised it didn't exactly translate to our movie choice.
It sounds like the connection from the baking challenge didn't quite carry over to the cinema. Was there anything that stood out as particularly awkward?
Well, at one point during a funny scene, I looked over to see if he was laughing too, but he was completely focused on his popcorn.
Hey, popcorn is a serious business. I don't think it's that big of a deal, though.
So, what's the takeaway from this cinematic experience? Any advice for future dates that both of you would recommend?
I'd say don't assume that just because you match on one level, like baking, that you'll automatically click in other activities. It's about finding common ground. Maybe dinner would be a better setting next time.
Exactly. Something more interactive or a little more engaging than just sitting next to each other in silence.
Wise words. So, do either of you feel differently about each other now after your date?
I appreciate his taste in cake. But as for the rest, I think we're just not the best match outside of the kitchen. I want a guy who pays attention.
I don't know if that's meant to be a dig. It's clear we might just be better off as friends.
And there you have it, folks. Sometimes the ingredients don't blend, but that doesn't mean we can't appreciate what we created together. Thank you both for sharing your experiences with us. Join us next week as we explore more delightful and sometimes awkward baking love stories from our contestants. Remember, whether in the kitchen or at the movies, chemistry can be a tricky recipe. Until next time, keep those ovens hot and those hearts open.